The Fae are everywhere. They are not limited to one section of the world. They're beings of another dimension, I believe, and can pull themselves in and out of pockets of the world wherever they want. Their idea of time and space is not the same as humans. Brian Froud has many ways of talking about where the Fae are, but my favorite is fairies exist on the boundaries, in the borderlands and at the edge, about the thresholds. Basically, he's saying anywhere these middle areas are, there are also Fae. Hi everyone, I'm Summer with Astaria Sen, and welcome to the second video in our week 1 of Finding the Fae. So what's next? Now you have an interest in the Fae, and you want to work with them, and you want to invite them in, and you want to do all the things, but where do you start? Plus, you always know that the Fae started in Europe and Ireland and the British Isles. Are they in the Americas? Are they where you live? Are they in the city? Where are they? And the truth is, they're everywhere. That's the truth. They are a being that lives in an alternate space from us, a dimension that we don't always have access to, but they have access to ours, right? So yeah, there's a lot of Fae everywhere. Anywhere there's going to be nature, there will be Fae, okay? Anywhere, including your yard. If you don't have a yard, it's a plant in your house if you want it to be. The whole point is to just have a space for them, and that's where altars come in, right? So the biggest thing is to accept that they can be in your area. We it's like driven into us that they're only in Europe, and they're only in the British Isles, and they're only in Ireland, and they're only Celtic. But Thomas Kiteley, he did a ton of research way back 1800s, you know, and he wandered around the world looking for Fae, literally looking for it. I talked about this in my first video with categories, and he has different areas where those categories of Fae come in. The Jinn, right? That's a part of the Fae. There's just so much out there, and they might not be called fairy. They might not be called fairy. They could be in something entirely different. They could just be nature spirits somewhere. So when you're reading about them, when you're looking at folklore, when you're looking into where they're at, keep in mind they may not have the name fairy, but they still are Fae beings. They're just called something different. That's all that really is. And here in the Americas, I mean, people travel from all over the world to America. You don't think they brought some of that with them? They did. They absolutely did. And America has its own traditions, its own Fae, its own land, all of that stuff. So they are everywhere. They're everywhere. You just have to reach out. And that's what we're going to be talking about, is inviting them in, because now you want to work with them, right? Now you want them to see you. You want them, or you want to see them, or however that's working out for you. The thing is you have to see with your whole sense, not just your sight, right? So sometimes reaching out might just be meditation. I did a great meditation not too long ago. I'll leave it down in the description, where you kind of just reach out to a guide. Meditations are great if you want to explore like fairyland. If you want to go more where they're at rather than where you're at, meditation is a great source for that, for reaching out energetically in that way to the Fae. It's more if you want them to come to you, where solid altars, solid Fae spaces come into play, right? And that is where inviting them into your area would come in with, what kind of altar do you make? Should you make an altar? Is it outside? Is it inside? What are we doing here? But that also, I will give you tips. I will give you ideas. I will show you what I'm doing, but it's all going to boil down to personal gnosis. And it's that first interaction. The point is that you're literally reaching your hand out, whether you're doing it in meditation or you're doing it physically through altars, offerings, anything like that. You're literally reaching your hand out to say, hey, nice to meet ya. That's basically what you're doing. Reading about them just gives you a solid foundation. Reading about them, exploring them, seeing what other people have to say about them, sharing, that's all part of that foundation that we want to build this week. And altar is a great foundational tool, because you could do it in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't even have to be an altar. It could be like a mini shrine if you wanted, wherever you are. If you're inside and you have a plant, stick like a little mini shrine of rocks piled on top of each other with the intent that it's a Fae space, right? It's like a doorway, an opening that says, you're welcome here, okay? Offerings. Your offerings are going to be a huge part of all of this too, because Fae are not all the same. I mean, there's certain food you like. There's certain things you like. The Fae are their own beings. There's going to be certain things they like and certain things they enjoy. So when you're experiencing your altar work, when you're experiencing meditation, some of that's going to come through to you on what that particular Fae that you're reaching out to or might be reaching to you might enjoy. And you're going to have to feel that. That's where that intuition comes in, right? And give it the benefit of the doubt. No matter how crazy or strange it sounds, give it the benefit of the doubt and see what happens. When I do my altars, I have an outside altar and an inside altar, which I'm showing you. The outside altar is all about my outside Fae. My outside Fae they don't always stick around. Okay, how do I know that? Because I don't always feel them around, okay? Some of them do. But I'm also, there's trooping Fae that wander through my area because they know they can. Especially during Samhain and stuff like that. There's a lot out here that I've just allowed to be. I've allowed the space for them to do this. And I mean, sure, they could have done it without me. Easy peasy. But the whole point was that I created something that they could explore and was a safe way for them to explore human conditions. Okay, so my outside altar is all about outside Fae, okay? It has more to do with just being in touch with those passing through, with those in my land, with nature spirits, than it does my home and actual like brownie that helps me out in my goat farm and all that other stuff. My brownie that's in my house and a couple other Fae that I know they're there, but we haven't like broached anything else yet. I think they're a little shy, honestly. I see them around, but they're quite shy. They're kind of in and out, but they help me take care of everything. They tell me when something's wrong. They help, ding a little thing inside that says, hey, you need to go check this out. And that's what my indoor Fae do. They're my house Fae. They're the ones that are more in tune with me specifically and what I'm doing out here on the land. Whereas my altar Fae area out there is just passing through. It's just saying, hey, it's just a networking option. I do have fairy garden Fae out there that dingle my bells, and stuff like that, which I've shown videos of in my fairy playlist, which I'll also leave a link to down in the description if you want to go check out my fairy playlist. But they're not always there. They're just there sometimes, it's like they just say hi. It's not like it's anything big or enormous with them. It's just a place where they go and hang out. They have no expectation. And I have no expectation. It's just a neutral zone that we explore together. I will leave honey offerings out there for them. I leave stuff out there for them that is safe for the land, the environment, any animals that might come around. And I also add to that altar any rocks and stuff like that I find on my travels will go onto that altar because it's their gift to me, and it's my place to keep that gift to show them that I'm honoring that I appreciate that I'm showing it off even to other Fae, My indoor altar is much more toward my home and what's going on with me and my family and my goats and my dogs and all that stuff. So my indoor altar has more on it than just Fae work, right? It has the cleansing stuff. It has tarot cards sometimes, or oracle cards. It has my mom's stuff on it sometimes, so ancestor work sometimes. It does have a lot of Fae stuff on it, and the Fae stuff that I do have, I have moon water on it, and I use that moon water for everything, but also as an offering. I have lavender sugar that I made recently that is also an offering. And then I make bread every single month because that is one of the things that me and my Fae have agreed upon, is I make bread at the beginning of the month, and that is one of my offerings for them each month. I provide the very first piece of warm bread to them on their offering plate. Now, that's just once a month. That's just our agreement. Okay, that's just like the thing that they do because they work out here, because they do the things out here. And that's my part of that, you know? It's like a give and take, a fair energy exchange. And when I'm doing my lavender sugar, that's more like daily stuff. Like say, I am trying to do something specific and I need their help. I might offer them the lavender sugar or moon water or both, depending on what I'm seeking or what I'm asking for in, you know, in an exchange for them to help. And that would be like day-to-day stuff. That's not a general, you know, okay? It's not like to help me take care of the farm or something like that. That's like more like, okay, so I know something's happening this weekend. Help keep things safe kind of stuff. Or, hey, I'm struggling today. Could you give me, you know, could you give me some time? Could you give me some of your time to just sit and be with me and experience with me because I'm lonely, or, you know, something like that. There's all these different things that you could do on a daily basis. And mine's very personal. It's very personal gnosis based. I will do Fae offerings for all sorts of different things, including, you know, my kids driving in and out of my property. And hey, just make sure they're safe as they're driving, as they're traveling today, you know, that kind of thing. And I offer that up to, you know, as a fair energy exchange, just so they'll look after them, you know. Other things I offer, okay, is my time and my energy and my space. I feel like reading about the Fae, learning about them, exploring them, putting my time into something that's important to them for me to know is an offering. My time is a very valuable offering. Other offerings could be milk. It could be just a song that you like and you want to share with them. It could just be you saying hi out there to them. There are so many opportunities for offerings in just small ways. You don't have to go buy anything elaborate. You don't have to do anything elaborate. You don't have to, I mean, it's between you and your Fae, obviously. But if you're just starting out, pick something intuitive, something that just says, yeah, I want to offer that, okay? Anything that you feel that is right for an offering for the Fae, no matter how silly it is. If it's dancing, go out and dance. That's all you got to do. Just go out and dance. If it's a song, start singing to them. If it's a poem, find your favorite poem and share that with them. If it's bread, give them bread. If it's your dinner, give them dinner. If it's sweets, give them sweets. If it's your time, give them time. Whatever it is, whatever you're feeling in that moment, that's what you offer. And that gives more than you realize because you're being real about it. You are providing something true to you for them, and they're going to give that fair energy exchange back to you. Now, I'm not going to say it's easy or that they're going to answer you every time or that all of these things are going to happen just because you reached out to them once. That's not the way it works. They have to trust you. And let's face it, we demonize them. We talk about how awful they are. We talk about how they steal our children and they do all these horrible things to us. But what are we doing? We're just talking shit behind their backs. I mean, would you trust me if I was talking shit behind your back? So you have to build some trust, and you have to build some trust in yourself too. Like, that's real. It's very, very hard to believe in something like the Fae when there's so many things out there that says no, 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 right? So it's very personal. Just accept that personal gnosis will be there, and you can do it in any way. Your offerings, your altars, in any way you see fit. So this could be really complicated for somebody who maybe doesn't want to work for the Fae. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm not expecting that people here are not wanting to work with the Fae. But what I am going to tell you is that there is a lot of people who are like, how do I get rid of them? How do I get rid of them? I don't want them to do these things. And there are ways. Okay, there are ways. You can keep them away by just simply asking them to stay away. I know people don't talk about that, right? But simply saying, I don't want to work with you. I don't want you here. They can go away. That's a boundary for them. It's a boundary. Some people use iron. Now, I have feelings about iron, guys. I have feelings about iron. And I'm putting this into offerings because there are a lot of people in our community who use iron in their witchery, okay? It's a thing. And you're thinking, oh, well, they're never going to be on my land because I use iron, or I do this, or I do that. But that's not necessarily true. It might be true for some Fae. I don't think it's true for all Fae. Our whole world, our land is made up of iron, okay? That is a real thing. The idea that they couldn't explore the land because there's even iron in the land is just boggles my mind. It's a belief that got set into place way back, okay? Way back, because of the Iron Age coming in, right? And so it doesn't mean that if you believe the iron is going to keep them away, that it won't keep them away. It absolutely will. If you believe that that iron is going to keep the Fae away, that's what's going to happen, period. Because your belief is your manifestation. That's your manifestation of your reality, is whatever you believe in your brain, in your heart, all that stuff. That is the manifestation of your life. So if you believe that iron is going to keep the Fae away, then that's what's going to happen. It's going to be very hard to change that thought if you believe that. It'll be very difficult, but you can do it. And I'm going to give you a workaround with that even. So if you believe that iron is going to keep the Fae away, but you use a lot of iron, then just clear iron out of your altar, outside altar area, okay? And tell them, yes, I have iron in these other places. If you don't want to go there because of the iron, this is a place for you, and I will interact with you here to help you feel more comfortable, okay? So you're actually giving something up. You're giving a part of your area up to them in a way, okay? And that's a kind of offering. Interesting, yeah? So I don't believe iron keeps the Fae away unless it's a Fae that does not particularly like iron, or you have a true belief that iron will keep them away. That's my take on it. And most of it is because there's just so many things that are made up of iron. There's just so many. And I think that it's like an old wives' tale, or something that just, a rumor that just popped up to make people feel safe, honestly. And the more people who believed in it, the more real it became for the Fae. That's my personal take on it. So no, I don't believe iron will keep the Fae away from me. I don't mind having iron anywhere in my area, even my Fae area. Those Fae who want to work with me know that it's there. And I've had no trouble, honestly, no trouble at all. But let's see, I have some notes here. I just want to look over and see maybe some other ideas for offering, okay? You can do creative offerings. You can do like an invitation in a jar where you add herbs that you associate with fairies. You add like some, little trinket even that you associate with fairies. It's about intent and saying that, yes, please come, okay? And you can kind of make it like a little intent jar, if you will, okay? An invitation jar to the Fae. Just something that says, yeah, And you can even add a little note in there saying, you're welcome here. I would like you to come see me. I would enjoy that, you know what I mean? Or you can give them a little poem, or you can share something special with them or whatever, and just stick it all in the jar. And then you can just set it outside someplace safe, right? And it will be there as an invitation for any Fae going through your area, because you may not know they're trooping Fae. You may not know the Fae are trooping through your area at all. The trooping Fae don't always make themselves known, okay? They're just wandering through. But if they see an invitation, right, they might stop and go, what's this? And suddenly they get more curious about you, okay? Let's see, you could share a full-on meal with them. If you think they're a Fae around and you want to share dinner, lunch, breakfast with them, or a snack, just go outside, sit wherever you feel that those Fae energies might be, and say, hey, I'm willing to share my meal with you. And you set a piece of your meal down for them, and then you eat your meal in silence with them. It's a clear invitation to say, hey, come on. I want to be friends. People have been using meals forever, breaking bread to create friendships and foundations within all sorts of stuff, right? Just say hello too. Honestly, anytime you feel the Fae, just say hello. Doesn't matter who's around. I do it all the time. All the time. Even in California, when I went to California, there's butterflies flying around. I'm like, hi, butterfly, because it felt Fae to me, right? Or I saw a tree with a face in it and I waved at it, There's all sorts of things that I do that people are just, taken aback by, but I don't care. I don't care, because it's my experience, okay? That's my experience. Let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to cover in this? No, I think that's pretty much it. Like, you could even do gardens for fairy offerings, or even a fairy space. You can have just a garden area, and you can tell the Fae, hey, this is this is an area for you that I'm cultivating, and I will keep up if you want to help keep them alive, help keep them bright, help keep them beautiful, you know, keep the bad things away from your little garden and stuff like that. There's all sorts of things like in a fair energy exchange that you can explore. Now, the reality is that if you tell them you're not going to put iron somewhere and that they're safe there, and then you turn around and put iron there, that's a problem. You're breaking that interaction already. Okay, so don't do that. If you're trying to upkeep the garden, right, and you just decide that it's not worth upkeeping, you're also deciding that about the Fae who live there, who you've invited to that area. So, you know, just be honest. If it's not something you can upkeep, don't do a big one. Okay? If you can only do a little tiny thing, only do a little thing. Know your limits, know your boundaries, and explore that with the Fae. You don't have to do anything big. You don't have to buy anything elaborate. You don't have to do any of that. You can simply just go out, walk around in nature, create a mini shrine, even in nature, you know, in a base of a tree or something. And tell the Fae, hi, I was here. I just wanted you to know that I'm interested, that I see you, that I acknowledge that your presence is here, even though I can't see you, you know, stuff like that. Look for them. You can even look for them in the trees or whatever, see faces. However it works out for you is the most important part of it. It is seriously the most important part of it. So, books to explore that have things to do with, you know, seeing the Fae is like this one by Ted Andrews. Yeah, Ted Andrews. It's Enchantment of the Fairy Realm. Now, the thing about these books, like this is one of the things that I was going to talk about, is I have things for you to explore, right? But not everybody's going to see it all the same way. You want quality places to find information about the Fae, right? We all do. The thing about that is because there's so much personal gnosis in that, that's where you kind of have to decide how you want to do it. I do believe that even in fiction, you can gain something. There's a lot of writers out there, like Holly Black or Heather Fawcett, who explore fairy stories, and they use old folklore to do it, and they're telling it in new ways, which is exploring an entirely new aspect of fairy. And it just blows me away, because I'm like, they're bringing it into the modern world, these stories, and they're creating something out of it. So I do believe there's even truth within the fiction, okay? And I think that Fae reach out through creativity and explore in stories like Peter Pan. But I don't think there's magic fairy dust. There might be. I've never seen it. I don't know for sure, but I don't see magic fairy dust as being a part of the Fae necessarily. Do I think they could fly? Sure, absolutely. I think they could fly. They could do whatever they wanted. They're shape-shifting beings even. So if they wanted to create wings for themselves, they could. If they wanted to turn into a bird, they could. I mean, that's my view on it. Other people may not have the same view. Other people might see them, you know, like the aliens, or like little people in the ground, or hill people, or however it works out. But what the point is that it's your personal gnosis, and you do what is right towards your intuition towards the Fae. That's the point. That's the whole point. So I will leave a link to the Faery Investigative Society down below in the description. Now, the Faery Investigative Society was originally, okay, the FIS, was originally back from way back. There were people, lots and lots of people exploring fairies back in the early 1900s. But they are a set of people that explore fairy stories, and they have a lot of fairy information for you in it, like a ton of it, okay? They have people and books and academic stuff, all sorts of stuff, okay? All sorts of stuff. Fairy stories, they no longer do what they used to do. It used to be about literally investigating fairies and stuff like that, and finding the truth and all that other stuff. Now it's more like a place that holds space for all of that stuff that people found out, and somebody else took over it recently. And they're still taking stories from people about their experiences in the modern day. But a lot of the material that they have is just held material from stuff they found already in the past. So there's a lot of quality information on this website, tons of quality information on this website. I do believe that anything by Brian Froud is absolutely quality information. He works with the Fae in a unique way, not just exploring folklore, but as a regular thing. Him and his wife, I mean, they're brilliant. Not only is he creating in his visual art because these Fae want to be seen, right? And he talks about that in his books, but they interact with them in their homes and stuff like that, which you also find out within their books. So not only is he exploring folklore and stuff like that, but also his own personal gnosis in his interactions with the Fae, which I find mind-blowing a lot of the time, okay? I love Emily Carding. Anything by Emily Carding you should pick up. Ted Andrews, John Cruise, he did a book on the British fairies, which was really, really good. Anything by Morgan Daimler, she does really good research. There's a lot of older books too. Evan Wentz is the one I'm currently reading. It's up here. I don't know where, but it's up there. But I'm currently reading that one, and I've talked about some of these books already. The idea though is to understand that not everything is going to work out for you in the same way that it does the books. And there's a lot of stuff that's in the older books that has either been disproven, right? Which you're going to find out through reading other materials. And other things that just don't relate to the modern world anymore, like the iron thing for me. So just keep an open mind when you're reading books. Okay, keep an open mind. I love even the children books, honestly. I don't think there's a bad book to read necessarily, okay? I think if you're looking for academic, then you go towards more like Morgan Daimler. She does more academic work. If you want more of the whimsy, more of that kind of stuff, lean more towards the Brian Froud side, you know, and then there's all sorts of stuff in between. Emily Carding is both academic and whimsy, you know what I mean? So there's in-betweens in that too, but you're going to have to explore a lot of that and read some of it in order to find out what you are actually leaning towards and liking. If you want old folklore, it's Thomas Kiley. That's what you go for. And you can read you can even read Grimm's fairy tales, but that's more like fairy tales, and it does have Fae in it, but it's not specific to Fae folklore, right? You can read Yeats, okay? W.B. Yeats. He has, the Celtic Twilight book that is all about personal gnosis, but his includes ghost stories because back then they believed ghosts were absolutely Fae. Okay, anything paranormal was considered pretty much Fae. And so it was kind of a mixture between ghost stories and paranormal stories and fairy stories all together in these different places. There's just so much to explore. So if you want to start somewhere, start with these kind of books that I'm giving you. The oldest book, I think, is Kirk's book, Reverend Kirk. He explored the fairy faith. And it's just like a little tiny, tiny book. And you can read these books for free on sacredtext.com. Actually, I'll leave a link to that down in the description too. Some of them, not all the books, but like the Kirk book you can read for free on the Sacred Text website. And they have a lot of different stuff, even occult stuff, a lot of different books on there that are just old stuff that is available for you to read, but it's not like perfectly done or anything like that. It's just volunteers who've put these materials on the website. That's pretty much all it is. So you might see mistakes and all sorts of other stuff. And some of the stuff that you're looking for might not even be there because they're backlogged. So all the stuff that people want on there may not be readily available, but there's like grimoires and everything on the Sacred Text site. It's pretty cool. So yeah, there's a lot of options. You just kind of have to start exploring and seeing what you're really into or what you're leaning towards. I'm both. I like academic, I like whimsy, and that's why I have both and everything in between, because I kind of want to know everything. It's the one thing that I explore in as many ways as I possibly can, including in fiction, right? Which is why I like the Heather Fawcett books with the Emily Wilde series that just recently came out. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. She took folklore to a whole new level, explored it in a way that I'm just highlighting stuff. I'm like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? You know, those kinds of things. I'm like, So my mind was just blown in some of these things. But yeah, so if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments, and I will get to them as much as I can. Later on videos, we're going to be doing some automatic writing. We're going to talk about personal experiences, all that kind of stuff. Next week, the first video next week, I do believe, because I wrote some of this stuff down so I remember. We are going to be working on building more of a connection, which is where your tarot is going to come into play a little bit more. So if you want a fairy deck to work with that, you absolutely can. But as I've shown, you don't absolutely need to, okay? There's also going to be some automatic writing that's going to, you know, take place if somebody wants to try that. If you want to create like a simple small fairy journal, I'm going to show you next week how to do it out of like a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, or just a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You could do it both ways. It's so simple. It's so easy. And then you just decorate it and add your fairy stuff in it, whatever you want in there. And I mean, so really next week, you just need a tarot deck, and you need maybe a piece of paper if you want to do the little tiny journal with me, an experience journal, and more paper for automatic writing and a pen. I mean, next week's going to be really simple. Of course, there will be another tarot spread to play with and explore. And of course, there will be other journal prompts other than automatic writing for next week too. So yeah, this is the second video. I didn't want it to be anything where you guys had to do something really, really invasive or anything like that, because two videos a week. Oh my goodness, I can talk. 2 videos a week is hard, and it's hard to keep up with. So don't think you need to do these. You don't need to do these all right now. They're going to stay on my channel, and they're going to be available to you. So you can come back to them anytime you want and explore more, okay? Don't feel like you have to do it all. It's a lot of information sometimes. And so yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know down in the description or down in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, okay? You guys have a very great day.